In just over a month's time, Sebring will play host to the third of the iRacing special events for 2018. Today, it plays host to round number 8 of the iRacing Prototype GT series, and it really does give us a good indication of who might be good at that event in a couple of weeks' time. Now, there might be no team racing today, but the thing is simple. 60 minutes, one pit stop, drivers have to go as fast as they can, but still work strategy to their advantage. 17 corners, 3.6 miles is the track length here today. It's 25 degrees with 38% relative humidity and 6 miles an hour, 6 kilometers an hour even, wind speeds on track. Welcome to Friday Night Prime Time here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Qualifying is almost over. It's Wilmington along with Connery Maddock. Special comment from RaceSpot Cat over the course of this broadcast. And well, Connery, Sebring in a month's time will play centre stage in the iRacing community. You might want to call this a bit of a warm-up.
Yeah, you would definitely do so. And maybe this will also play, see how things will start to look like when we come towards iRacing special events. And you can see at the top of this prototype field, it is pretty much stacked when you talk about prototype drivers. You got Tommaso Carla, currently provisional pole in that particular field. And you've also got the likes of what's going to be Marcus Hamilton. You've got Fabrice Cornelis throwing his hat into the ring as well. So the top of this prototype field is going to be very, very interesting indeed.
Yeah, qualifying is over, and that actually means we get a chance then to look at your starting field for this event. And Tommaso Carla will be starting out front. 1 minute 46.197. Patrick Wolf alongside him here tonight. Fabrice Cornelis in third place, and Marcus Hamilton in P number 4. That is in your prototype field with Cycler on back. And well, you made the correct assertion there. It really is stacked in this prototype field. We've got 12 drivers in prototypes. We've got ourselves a few more in terms of GT1. GT2 field, only 4 drivers, however.
Yeah, exactly, but unfortunately that is usually the case of things. The GT2 for GT car isn't really all that popular, but there is still a select group of people that do decide to run that car. I know Kloppman, the current pole position sitter now in that GT2 car. He has been racing this car for a long, long while, and with that sort of lap time he's putting in qualifying, 0.4 of a second faster than Zenkowski, he has a very good chance.
Yeah, and there's a look again at the weather for this event. Not that much in terms of wind speed here today. Humidity is not going to be that high, so there is going to be overtaking opportunities in 3 different places. Down into turn number 1, down into turn number 6, and of course down into Sunset Bend, turn number 17 on this track. But what we will often see is drivers really struggling to try and make passes on that middle section of the racetrack. And that's going to be really, in my opinion, Connery, where this race is going to be won or lost. We're just going to circle it for you on screen. I would say up about here. On run from basically the exit of the hairpin down towards Bishop's Corner. That is where this race is going to be won or lost.
Yeah, it's a very difficult middle sector, as you say, to make passes. You can make something happen on the brakes down into turn 10, sneak one down the inside of 13, but it's very hard to hold position there as well. So, even if you get alongside, it doesn't mean that you're always going to get the pass going into the sections.
Yep, so let's have a look then at your field. They are lined up behind the iRacing safety car. Go on board there with the driver, currently on 4th. 3rd place, Fabrice Cornelis then. 1 full pace lap around this track. So in terms of fuel, this is probably more difficult than at any other track. I say outside of Road America now, Connery, than the fact they have to do a full pace lap. You're going to see a lot of these drivers really lifting and coasting all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. Just try and save as much fuel as possible. It doesn't matter under a pace lap. You're not going to lose any positions. You're not going to gain any positions. You're going at relatively slow speed, so might as well just turn in all the fuel-saving features that you have in these cars to try and gain an advantage in the pit stops. Looks like the pit stop window, it's be about where you think it would be in the 60-minute race, around about lap 20, lap 23 at least, for these prototypes as they start to head their way through the first sector now. And, massive amounts of fuel saving going on.
And this is a 60-minute race compared to some of the 75-minute races that you have in this ProtoGT season. And what that does is those 15 minutes might not seem like a lot, but when the race is extended by 15 minutes at certain tracks compared to others, that makes strategy more important. 60 minutes here, it provides a wider window, I would say, Connery, for these drivers. What it does mean is we're more likely to have a lot of traffic coming on towards pit road at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It just means that all the same classes are on relatively similar strategies. So, as you said, it's going to be a very, very busy pit lane, and pit entry here could also be an issue, especially if prototypes and GT cars are trying to come down towards the lane while they're in amongst each other, all mixed up as well. That could certainly be an issue.
Here's a look then at first place in your GT1 field. That is Dave Geeling in the number 1 machine. Alongside him is Mikko Numeri then. And that's going to be a fantastic battle, I think, we're going to have. And I'd say not only the top 2, but about the top 4 or 5 in your GT1 field.
Yeah, exactly. You've also got the likes of your pole position today. You've got Dave Hailing versus Fraser Williamson as well. I'm excited to see how that battle turns out. But yeah, you're right. Even further back in your GT field, you've got Nurmi, as you mentioned, trying to make his way back up through the field for what is going to be at Black Star Racing there in that Corvette. And it's great to see the Corvettes getting a good run of things here. Of course, the difference between them and the Aston Martins is that they are very, very good at that low speed traction off the corners. It's really a point and squirt car.
And you've got to feel sorry for Timo Teucher in the number 25 machine. In your GT2 field, only 3 drivers have taken the grid. 2 of them are from the same team, Vendevell Sim Racing, so it might well be the impossible task for Timo Teucher. The driver who's supposed to start first place in class, and Greg Gilbert, actually did not take the starting grid here this evening. So looking like he might start this one from pit road. In the meanwhile, down the very long Ullman straightaway. This is where you enter the pass of the corner with 1,000 different lines, Sunset Bend. As it's Fabrice Cornelius, you can see there in 4th place ahead of him. We've got a couple of drivers. They are all lining up now, getting ready to go. Tommaso Carter and Patrick Wolf going to be P number 1, P number 2, your front row as we head ourselves to the green flag of this ProtoGT. 1 hour's worth of racing for Friday night prime time. We are so glad that you can join us. The pace car pulls on towards pit road. It is go time for your left-hand lane. They're stacking up a little bit, actually. But now Carter puts the pedal down and the green flag will come out. 3 wide as they head themselves in towards turn number 1. In your prototype field, they settle it down just a little bit in towards turn number 1. They should all make this through. They're not too bunched up, and indeed, that is going to be the case. They are all okay in terms of your prototype field, and now we just wait for the first of your GT1 cars to come through, and they, as well, Connery, were okay. We've got a car off in prototype.
Yeah, we do have a car off indeed, as there was a little bit more free wide that we saw on the start there. There was Neil Andrews, Paul Ulbrich getting themselves involved kind of through the first sector. 3 wide through turn number 2, and Ulbrich trying to make something happen on that inside, but it did shove Evers out to dry, which is the car you saw go off onto the grass. Yeah, and Evers, as a consequence, go on board him again, down to P number 8. Now, the thing at the start of one of these races is you can lose more positions than you gain. That is a situation for Frederick Evers right now, because he has lost quite a bit of time and places at the start of this one. In fact, now he's down to P number 9 in this event in class already, and that is not the start he would have wanted. Tommaso Carter does lead away right now, though, from the driver of Patrick Wolf. The gap is about half a second between those drivers, and behind in GT1, where Dave Gailing does still lead the way, and he is a 0.4 of a second ahead of Fraser Williamson. Not yet talked about the GT1 split here today, but it is a case of all aboard the Aston Martin train. Yeah, pretty much Aston Martins. The entire top 3 are Aston Martins, but look at that P number 4, Marian Babarek there in that Corvette. So the Corvette can run quite comfortably at the front with these Aston Martins, as long as they're put in the right pair of hands. But Babarek looking to come under pressure here, coming in towards Sunset Bend. Seal's just going to sit inside that slipstream. Will he look down towards the inside? He will look down towards the inside, but is it just a look down into here? He has to commit, but no commitment. Meanwhile, we've got ourselves Tommaso Carter, as I say, leading the way still overall, as they are already onto their second lap of this event. Apologies for the special comments then from Racebot Cat. As we say, she is in heat, so if you have got a nice male cat who would like to take Lola to the dance, then please do let us know.
battle going on in GT2. Well, there is no battle. It reminds me a bit of the 90s, like the 2005 United States Grand Prix there, Connery. You used to have two drivers in teams running together, one from another team running just a little bit further back. Although, I would say we've got some really close racing going on P4, P5 in GT1.
Yeah, exactly, and this was the battle that we saw coming down into Sunset Bend. Babarek in that Corvette tried to defend from Paul Seal. It did make it side by side off of Sunset Bend last time. Bias deep on the brakes goes Paul Seal, almost collecting the back of Babarek there, and this brings Paul and Cliff back into things.
It does, as that Cliff now might get the run as they come down. Nah, actually, he won't be anywhere near close enough, so they're coming into Tower Corner. Here we are, as they come. Martini Racing Machine, not gonna happen. Battle for third place in your prototype field. That one's also looking close right now. This is with Patrick Wolf versus Fabrice Cornelis as they work themselves through towards Le Mans. Turn number 16 on track and now onto the Ullman straightaway. And, well, Wolf has got a half-second advantage over Fabrice Cornelis, although they have both lost a second already to Tommaso Carter.
Yeah, exactly. Fabrice Cornelis, of course, in the Sports Car Open, that Van der Waal team winning the Prototype Championship over Thrustmaster Movano, but it is Movano that leads at the moment in the form of Tommaso Carla, and also Patrick Wolf involved in this one, P number 2. Of course, he is usually a pure racing team, but for Sports Car Open, he actually raced for the SimRC team, but he's back in his usual colours, still fighting at the front. He
is indeed. As just having a look through your battles that are going on across your 3 different classes. Live timing and scoring, by the way, is available. Just visit racebot.tv/timing and we'll keep you up to date with everything that is happening on track. But in the top 3 in each class, it's kind of settled down early here. And that's the thing about Sebring. The traffic will come into play later on than we might have at certain other tracks. So on board right now with Paul Ilbrink in your prototype class. It's hunting down Neil Andrews. That is the closest battle we've got going on realistically in terms of prototype. And actually a good run by Ilbrink. This could put him to the outside as they head themselves now into Cunningham Corner. And he's going to actually go to the outside into Cunningham Corner. This is Paul Ilbrink. Of course, he's a very experienced driver. He's run in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. He's been a part of Radicals' online effort in endurance racing, but he got very squirty there through Collier Corner.
Very squirrely is one way to put it, as he got himself all over the curb. Kart starting to break traction, had to back out of the move. But can he gain another position for Radicals online right now? Of course, they did win the 24 hours of Daytona in a little bit of, well, controversial circumstances, shall we say there, Will. But a win's a win, and they're looking to try and maybe not get a win this time, but at least get a top 5 as he has to run into Sunset Bend. He's going to have a quick little look, but no commitment again. Yeah, one of the more controversial finishes I think I've ever seen on an iRacing special event. But as you say, at the end of the day, the win was the win. Radicals online, beating Van der Waal Sim Racing on the final lap of the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona 2018. Of course, you can find all the highlights of that on the iRacing YouTube page. We're on board right now with 5th place in your GT class. That is Jules de Vries there in the number 27 Corvette machine. So you've got 1 or 2 Corvettes in your field here today, but they do seem to lose out a little bit in that straight line. But overall, the lap actually compared to the Aston Martin is still worth noting as well that Timo Toika, get this already, he's fallen back 7 seconds from the rear of your Van der Waal train. Yeah, that's just the way the Kloppen and Sankowski like to do things, and they are incredibly experienced in these GT2 cars. Even though the participation has fallen off, of course, they still remain pretty fast and committed to that machine. And let's just hope things get better for GT2 cars. But it doesn't look like with the amount of content that is on our way, Will.
Well, yeah, GTLM, LMP1. We've had the announcement as well as the changes that are going to be happening to the IMSA series, and also in terms of the kind of multi-class racing that we have. Actually, it's going to be great, I think. I'm going to call it the Road to Le Mans 2018, because I think that's going to be the pinnacle of this year's endurance series. Yes, we had Daytona. That was your warm-up, but now we're on that road to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And remember we talked, Connery, to a number of teams and drivers that said the Daytona 24 Hours was essentially their test session for what that GTE and GTLM cars can actually do.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, we still had the Daytona prototypes involved in that one as the prototype class. So once these LMP1 cars do get released, then everyone is kind of on a more of a level playing field there, and I'm excited to see which team rises to the top of that class. We can take very, very good guesses, but we won't know for sure.
Yeah, you can put a number of names into the hat, of course, NX Racing, the likes of Vendevel Sim Racing, CMRC.E, Corvette Sim Sports, Radicals Online, Apex Racing UK. That is just the first part of that. Of course, Core Sim Racing, Core Motorsports can all come into that one. Team Redline, can they bounce back after historically bad 24 hours of Daytona? We go on board, actually, with P number 6 now in your GT1 class. Carlos Villa in number 13 machine versus Justin Fries. The middle pack here of your GT1 field, they're just kind of in limbo right now. We're doing that typical thing, Connery, of running about 7 tenths of a second behind the driver ahead of them, not wanting to get into that dirty air, not really wanting to battle too much.
Not really wanting to battle too much at all. There are cars that are catching. Villa is catching Justin Fries by about 1/10 of a second a lap, and Mika Nurmi is trying to pull away from them. But yeah, these gaps are just fluctuating in and out, but they're not close enough for really any side-by-side action. And guess what? It is 3 Corvettes in the middle of this field. So there's 3 Aston Martins, 3 Corvettes, 2 Aston Martins, Corvette, and 2 Aston Martins that comprise your GT field. As Reese goes deep on the brakes in towards turn number 7 hairpin, but he's still way too far back.
He is indeed. Fantastic shot though by some of these drivers coming through. What is the run into a turn number? Let's work this one out. That was in towards Cunningham Corner, actually. But I do love this track, and actually the thing about Sebring as well, which is really difficult, is that you've got the 2 different kind of like track surfaces as well. That really does play havoc with some of these drivers, as they can get the balance right for about 90% of the track, but actually from the big braking zones, when they're in different asphalt or like concrete to asphalt, does make things very difficult.
Yeah, it does make things very difficult in terms of the setup. Of course, another thing related to the track surface is the kind of bumpy nature at some parts of this track, especially in Sunset Bend. Hit a bump all wrong, and all of a sudden, the car is very, very upset with the way it's been handled, and can spit you out into a barrier somewhere. So you just have to be careful. Just careful with the throttle inputs, careful with the brake inputs, and make sure you get through these bumpy sections relatively okay.
On board of Frederick Evers versus Pascal Stix into the hairpin even. Turn number 7 on track, and the gap between them, well, that's static at 1/3 of a second right now. But let's go back. Oh, Fraser Williamson, he's gone off. And he's out by the looks of it. Replay. Let's go. Hardware failure. Yeah. Technical issues there for Fraser. So. Nothing else you can say.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think this. I'm just having a look at the onboard, trying to see what happens. There's no abnormal input to the steering wheel, shall we say. That's a very weird instant. It's a huge instant as he goes barrel rolling down in towards turn number 1. But
sorry, almost clipped the bridge even. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that would have been an even scarier instant, and thankfully all of this is simulated, so Fraser Williamson will be okay, of course, but the thing is, what won't be okay is his run in broadcasted races. 1 race win, but everything else he's DNF'd in. Yeah, it's almost as if he's doing it just to make issues and things bad for himself, but we have got this battle going on. P2 overall, P2 in your prototype division. Patrick Wolf versus Kareem Cornelius. This is going on right now, and I will say, in terms of the ongoing development in LMP1, I'm going to be the first person to say, oh, I'm actually glad LMP1's come out now, not 2 years ago, because these drivers have had so much development time in the LMP2 car. I think it's actually helped the formation of teams who can really tackle the LMP1 car when it comes out. Yeah, exactly. We had the introduction of team racing a couple of years ago, and the extended endurance racing calendar with driver swaps and everything. So, yeah, it's given these guys a lot of time to try and get their stuff together. And Vendeval and Pure Racing Team were 2 of the very big players indeed in your prototype field in any series that you race in. Pure Racing Team currently leading the endurance Neo Endurance series. Vendeval Sim Racing winning the Sports Car Open, and the future is looking very, very bright for both teams.
And having a look at the lap times as well, there's not much between them. Fabrice in the number 2 car was able to gain a couple attempts, sorry, a 10th even, in that Vendeval Sim Racing car. He's lost 1.6 tenths of a second over the course of the last few laps. That is absolutely nothing to choose between these drivers. We just had about 15 minutes of this race called complete. I want to go back and have a look in this GT1 train, because now it starts off with Mika Numeri there in third place, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, 5 cars there, right there in that train. They're split up a little bit from Carlos Villar down to Paul Antcliffe, but as Antcliffe tries to have a look down the inside as they work themselves through Cunningham Corner, it does seem to be that they are all just doing the trolley train, shall we say.
Truly train indeed, and I've received a little bit of a message from Fraser Williamson, and well, he said it's only a hardware failure if you count his brain as hardware.
Well, there we are. So driver failure for Fraser Williamson. I can get away with it because he said it and I didn't. Antcliffe though, right on the rear of Carlos Villar. This is for P at number 5 in class. And I think Antcliffe's realised he's got to get a move on, otherwise he's going to lose this draft. Yeah,
exactly. That's what he has to do now, and we've seen potential moves happening towards Sunset Bend, but can it happen again? Going to sit in the slipstream for now, look for the good exit out of the corner, because through the middle of this corner, this Aston Martin's going to be so strong coming through the middle, and through the exit, they'll be relatively competent as well as he tries to get the traction down. Careful not to push too wide there, and Antcliffe, as a result of pushing a little bit too wide, he's going to lose the momentum all the way down towards turn number 1, but potentially close fighting ahead starting to develop between Nurmi and De Vries as well.
The thing to note here, Connery, in this Aston versus Corvette battle is that in most cases, the Aston's always going to win because of the fact, yes, we do have some long straightaways, but you end up in a situation that before that you've got a series of slow to medium speed corners, and that's always going to be to the Corvette's detriment.
Oh. Here we go, but the thing is, Villar did outbreak himself down into the hairpins. So close coming off the exit there. But yeah, I completely agree with you. The defense of that Corvette is basically the traction off the corners and coming off the slow speed corners especially. And well, a lot of these corners around Sebring really play to the advantage of the Aston Martin rather than the Corvette, like you mentioned. So this is going to be very difficult for Villar to hold position here.
Yeah, let's give you an update on GT2. Nothing's happening. Same as it was before. Timo Toyka, 26 seconds behind your class leader. Moving on, let's go back, and actually, this is where it's going to start getting interesting here, Connery, because your top 3 drivers are now starting to go through the GT2 traffic. Yes, there's only 3 of them, but it might well be enough just for now Cornelius to get side by side on wall.
It could be enough as they have one more GT2 car to try and negotiate. There's also a GT1 car that has been stricken a little bit. James McCritchy is currently there. It's down towards the inside, goes Wolf on the traffic, puts one bit of traffic in between himself and Cornelis here, and Cornelis is going to get held up a little bit by his teammate there in Cohen Klopman. Yeah, but you know, in both SEO and New Endurance Series, the Ventval, the team with themselves being lap traffic as Cornelis gets a bit of the grass, little bit of half spin as he carefully doesn't hit the wall there. But wow, that was interesting. That was an unforced error.
Yeah, it was on board. Let's have a replay. I'm assuming he caught, I'm sure he did. He caught the white line on corner entry. I want to have another look at this one from our overhead coverage, brought to you by And1 Design, the official graphics partner of RaceBot TV. But I'm just going to zoom it in, and I think I know exactly where to pause it for the first kick. Yeah, just there, coming into, you can just see that he just has that wheel on the left-hand side just touching both the white line and the grass. That's always going to spin you around at Sebring.
Yeah, exactly, and as I mentioned, it was basically an unforced error from Cornelis. He has to work those ones out before the Sebring special event ratio on iRacing, and right now it's dropped him back to the field. He's going to be about number 5 in class, so the 2 cars ahead of him, both Frostmaster Movano, Marcus Hamilton, Philip Bauer, and this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Vendel versus Movano again and again. Yeah,
indeed. So having a look then. There is Cornelius down into P number 5 right now. Let's go back and have a look, though. And we haven't talked about the leader in class yet, but Dave Geeling, what a run he is having, that #1 machine right now. He's gaining basically anywhere between about 2/3 of a second a lap, which actually at some points 1.4 seconds a lap over everyone else in GT1.
Yeah, absolutely insane pace there from the Vendaval Sim Racing driver. It's not quite showing up correctly there, but the thing is, it's going to be Vendaval leading GT1, Vendaval leading GT2. It's just Cornelis. Come on, let's go and lead Prototype.
Yeah, indeed. So it's going to be a long road now for Cornelis to get himself back out front. Now, strategy will work if you manage to make it here, because he's only 7.2 seconds behind your class leader, and a lot of this will come down to what will happen during pit stops. So you talked about this already, Connery. The pit road actually opens in about 2 minutes' time. It's a wide pit window here at Sebring because it's a 60-minute race, but a lot of drivers will try and just cut this race in half or go as long as they can right to the end and then just do a top-up.
Yeah, so we'll be seeing a bit of mismatch in strategies as Cornelis. He's done it again. Well, not exactly the same instant, but he seems to have quite an affinity for the grass there as he runs wide coming through the first sector. That's just weird, but coming back to the point, these prototypes, round about lap number 2023, where we'll expect most of them to come in, but again, it's going to be such a wide strategy field to be playing in here that it's going to seem like a mismatch.
We've got a close one going on. P3, P4. Oh, it was a close one going on. This is what we've been talking about. It's two Corvettes in this situation. And actually, two Corvettes is actually even harder in terms of the dirty air sometimes, the way these cars work. They're heading themselves right now through turn number 15, left-hander, in towards LeMans, turn number 16. I do not understand the track numbering at some points on this track. I say the same about a number of North American tracks. Turn 15 incorporates a right-hander, and then a left-hander, and then a very short straightaway before turn 16.
Yeah, exactly, and it's, you know, with the heavy braking zones in towards the hairpin, in towards turn number 10, you could make things side by side through there, but the thing is, De Vries looking to get the good exit off of Sunset Bend, not quite getting it, and he's going to have to wait at least another lap to make a move in towards turn number 1 perhaps, but he still has a couple of more opportunities here to try and get himself past his, what can we say, like manufacturer teammate here in the Corvette.
Yeah, indeed. So as Racebot Cat continues to say hello, we actually going on board for a few moments with Jost de Vries, number 27 machine. This is Racebot TV Fan Immersion. Always interesting seeing when you've got this multi-class racing how each of the different cars react. But just having a look actually, back up in your prototype field, Cornelis is falling back even further. But then you've got this situation, Paul Ancliffe actually right now, battle with Carlos Villia in towards Sunset Bend.
In towards Sunset Bend they go, and coming through the exit of Sunset Bend they all come as well, and Villa is going to get the position here over Paul Ancliffe, heading their way across the line. Already gets a couple of tenths of a second gap to be able to deal with as well, but looking back towards the prototypes, it's going to be very, very, very short amount of time before they start lapping the rest of your GT1 field here. Well,
yeah, it will be indeed. So go on board actually with Ancliffe right now. You can see the gap, that is a Corvette ahead of him. So the thing for Ancliffe is he's going to be faster through this section, but unless he can force Villa off here, which he's not going to do, he does get a better run, however. It's going to be very hard for him to make the move in towards the hairpin. He's going to prove me wrong, though, as he do so, because down to the inside, actually, Ancliffe will go. Is he going to make this move stick? He's going to try his hardest indeed. Yes, he does. We're here again then. Will come the 13 right back on the attack in that Corvette C6, C7 even. As they'll come through the kink there, side by side again, in towards Cunningham Corner. And Ancliffe here has also now got himself prototype traffic. And that, I believe, is one of your leading cars. Is that Tommaso Carter himself? Oh, yes, it is. So Tommaso Carter saying, hey, guys, get out my way.
Yeah, he has to split up the battle, no ifs or buts about this, because he's got Patrick Wolf hot on his heels as well, and he will get himself right through relatively okay, so that battle is negotiated, and Via can start to try and close up yet again, but I think Via got lost out the most in terms of that GT battle. But the thing is, here comes Patrick Wolf down the inside at LeMans, will just take the position, no problems, no questions asked there, as down into Sunset Bend he'll get the other one, but that has really worked out in the favour of Carla and Ancliffe. Yeah,
it has. So you have a look down. Comparable lap times between the two of them, but that last time all went down to Ancliffe, although you've got to keep an eye out now on, oh, okay, 27 machines, like, you know what, I'm going to come on towards pit road because I don't want to be overtaken by these prototypes and lose time. This is an interesting strategy here, Connery, but you can make it work, especially if you're Corvette, where you're normally slower in the corners, especially if you're offline being lapped through traffic.
Yeah, exactly, and you'll have no problems going to the end here. Of course, they mentioned before that this pit window very, very wide, so coming in with about 36 minutes to go, that's just going to get you to the end here as he just waits for the fuel to go in. No tyres taken, of course. That'll take way too long with how short the stops are, with how little fuel you have to put in here since they're not full stint. So out and away goes Justus de Vries. And let's just see where he goes out. 17.3 seconds on the lane. He'll come out in a little bit of clear air once Gabriel Treyas gets past.
Yeah, and Stefan Overgaard is on pit road as well. There is Stefan Overgaard indeed coming out. Actually, he's done one lap already. So Justus de Vries is ahead of Stefan Overgaard, as it seems. So two drivers that have made actual pit stops. You have Fraser Williamson, you saw that car on pit road, and Marian Brabeck as well. He is classified as out of the event. Only 4 drivers out. Timo Koika, by the way, has retired from this event.
Yep, so the field of 4 GT2 cars has now become a duo dancing out there on the racetrack quite far apart as what has happened to Timo Koika, in fact, the number 25 car? Is it some sort of technical issue? Must have happened quite a long ago. He might have just got a little bit bored, yeah, which, well, it's not what you want to see, but sometimes you can understand it when there are only 2 other cars in your field.
Yeah, indeed, and of course, let's not forget, by the time that we started talking about him, about 10 minutes ago, he was late 26 seconds behind your leading duos, and knowing the fact that, you know, he's not going to come any higher than what he is, reserve your safety rating, and actually that is a strategy that sometimes we see in ProtoGT. It's not always a strategy that people agree with. It might be frowned upon by 1 or 2 people, but if you're not going to gain anything else, then, you know, what you might be able to preserve your safety rating, and again, especially at a track which is very narrow, very bumpy, which has a history of throwing up the unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well come in and conserve what you have, as we have a couple of other cars down on towards the lane. This is Mikko Nurmi and Carlos Via, so 2 of the other Corvettes. There's also going to be, what is, actually no one, as a retired Corvette down on towards the lane there, Mario Babarek, as Nurmi will get himself off his stalls relatively okay, and Carlos Via will do the same as well. So it seems like the Corvettes are the ones going for the early stops here, Will.
They are indeed. As 40.4 seconds end to end there for Mikko Nurmi, and actually, look at him versus Justus de Vries, and I think actually that was a bit of a strategic decision there, knowing that the Aston Martin behind might well have been, oh, actually no, there were 2 Corvettes, so I'm going to take that one back. But I was going to say, I think that he was realising that the undercut could have been played there by Justus de Vries, but well, actually all of a sudden Justus again is looking at bright yellow.
Yeah, exactly, and again, no way by. He's going to have a, you know, show the nose down in towards the hairpin, but that move definitely isn't on, and there's a prototype also looking to try and come through in the not-too-distant future. That's Gabriel Perez in the number 22 machine, so what is the strategy play for Nurmi? What is the strategy play for de Vries out there on circuit now, because the pit stop strategy has worked itself out, so this is all on track now that they have to do it.
Yeah, and the only thing they're going to have helping them at some point along the line might well be a little bit of traffic like what we're seeing right now, and this is I think the number 4 machine, it was someone along the lines that was trying to overtake all these drivers. But the prototype traffic is going to be a key factor here today that might well determine when people come on towards pit road. Let's go for your top 8 in each of your classes. Tommaso Carter is leading the way by 1.6 seconds right now over everyone else in your field overall, but especially, of course, in your prototype field. Second place is Patrick Wolff. Third place, Marcus Hamilton. He's now dropped back to 7 seconds behind your leading duo. Philip Barr in 4th place, Fabrice Cornelis in 5th. Paul Ilbrink, Neil Andrews and Frederick Evers round out your top 8. Over to your GT1 category, and we'll see that it is leading the way. The driver of Dave Keeling, who's already leading that field by 20.6 seconds over Paul Searle. Paul Ancliffe is in 3rd place with Calvin Fordent in 4th. Josta Vries in 5th place. 6th place is Nico Numri. Carlos Fuller-Intung and Stefan Overgaard rounds out your top 8. And then finally over to GT2. Well, there's 4 of them. Now there's 2 of them on track. Great win there, Vedderbell Sim Racing. Well done.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if, you know, I could try and ping them in their Discord, just telling them to, you know, give us a little bit of a fight at the end here, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Tommaso Carter, the gap between himself and Patrick Wolff is now 1.6 seconds. And you're talking about the fact that Wolff was close. Actually, Wolff has gained the last 2 laps. Let's have a look at Carter, as coming across the start-finish line will come the number 3 machine. And it will be a lap time of... Come on. 147.454. That's about 3 tenths slower than previous lap. And again, Patrick Wolff takes a bit more out there. Gap down now to 1.483.
Yeah, so Wolff basically looking for this late race charge that he is definitely very capable of pulling off. And is this just Carter just trying to manage the gap, or is he actually at a lap time deficit to Patrick Wolff? We'll see in the next couple laps if he starts to reply to the pace of Patrick Wolff. As Marcus Hamilton behind, he's not really catching either. He's pulling out the gap over his teammate Philip Bauer, but the Bauer and Cornelis, they are almost identical in terms of lap time.
Yeah, and the gap is only 4 tenths per second actually between Cornelis and Burrow right now. And this is where pit stops can really come into your advantage if you are the driver of Fabrice Cornelius. Of course, he had that incident earlier, and that cost him about 2.5 seconds on track, if not a bit more. He's now 10 seconds behind your overall race leader. That might be a little bit too much to gain back over the course of the 30 minutes of this race that we have remaining, of course, plus the final lap, as we now are officially halfway through on time. But for Cornelius, he might well be able to gain 1, maybe 2 positions on pit road if he nails it properly.
Yeah, that's what he has to be looking to do now. We've had a lot of your GT1 cars come down towards the lane, mainly the Corvettes. We're still waiting for the vast majority of everyone in this field to hit the pit lane at some point in the future. 20 to 23, the prototype pit stop window, the usual pit stop window. Of course, the actual pit stop window is quite a little wider with the fuel that they have to take, but that is the usual range that we see in previous races, as Philip Bauer has to go around the outside of Dave Halink there, and outside again on the exit. And look at how this has helped Fabrice Cornelis. Now he is right onto the back. Not going to make the move into turn number 1, but now he can just sit in the slipstream and look towards the inside. But I think that's a little bit too far back even for you, Cornelis.
Yeah, indeed. So if we have a look at the speed chart, don't forget live timing and scoring is available on RaceBot.tv/timing. And you can get social with us on Facebook /RaceBot.tv, at RaceBot.tv on Twitter. I'm going to have to make sure I don't do too many Super Bowl posts this weekend here, Conrad.
Yeah, we just have to be very, very careful, and it's the same with the month of May as well, Will, is we're starting to come up to it, so I'm starting to get a little bit worried.
Well, the thing is as well, we've got to remember that iRacing's office is based in the state of Connecticut? No, it's not even Connecticut, isn't it? Massachusetts, that's the one. But what I'm worried about is the fact, of course, if we try and go for the Eagles, we might have our contract lost. Yeah,
exactly. We don't want to have that happen, so our hand is very, very forced.
Yes, it is indeed. So, go Super Bowl. Although there's a fantastic Amazon Alexa advert which dropped the other day as part of YouTube. They do this amazing thing these days. We're just putting all the commercials into one place. If you don't actually like football, but you like the commercials, just go and watch them instead. As Rico Nimri versus Josta Vries, that one continues battle for P3, P4. Two Corvette drivers. Josta Friis there from Club Benelux and Nico Numeri from Club Finland. You know one thing, Connery? I think if Benelux had more drivers in the service, they could well challenge to be World Cup champions.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of the effort from them in the past couple of years, it hasn't really been there for them. But if they can really get this user base involved in events like the World Cup, then they could be a scary, scary threat in terms of that one. But their roadside will be very, very competent. It's the only thing I worry about is their oval effort, which there are a couple of drivers. I think Frank Brandwick does a lot of oval. There's also another one I can't quite mention there is very, very well known in the NASCAR iRacing series sort of races that go on throughout the year. But you know, if you have a field of 2 oval cars, then that's not going to be much for a World Cup where you need 10, 20.
Yeah, I am actually going back to Belgium this year for. In fact, I'm going to Club Benelux twice because I'm going to the Netherlands, and then also Frederick Evers almost runs into the rear of Neil Andrews down into the hairpin, going of course to the 6 hours of Spa. That is on Bank Holiday weekend in the UK, which is, I'm just going to be honest, Nick, it's just my way of getting out commentating the 24 hours on the Nürburgring.
Yeah, exactly, and we still have to sort of get a little bit of payback for that every year, but there we go. It's the driver that I was thinking of in terms of oval drivers for your Benelux Club, and that's Jackie Lotterman as well. So the Easter Speeds Motorsports driver, at least in the Sports Car Open, very, very good on the ovals, and actually used to be my teammate as part of the Apex Academy team for oval.
Yes, indeed, and Apex, of course, one of the teams that have struggled in many years over the 24-hour, 12-hour special events here. But they're one of the teams I'm going to say, you talk about the month of May a month ago, I think they're a team that's to watch there, a team we watched in Blancpain this year, and I think that they can do their own in terms of special events. We've seen flashes of brilliance recently from the Apex Racing UK team across all the series, of course. We just won't talk about Sebastian, that's meaning a different team now, so we're definitely not going to be talking about that one. I'm still stuck in my old mind. But they've been fantastic, of course, in the Pro Series of road racing.
Yeah, of course, we've got Alex Simpson, the team boss, actually winning that overall Pro Series with a little bit of help from Joshua Rogers and Freddie Rasmussen, being very secure and not having to race the final 2 races. So it's a little bit of a lucky sort of streak for him. But the thing is, he's there and he deserves it, actually, because even though he didn't get the race wins, he was top 3, top 5 every single race, and you just can't fault that.
You can't. Talk about lap 23, by the way. We are 3 laps away from that in terms of your prototype field. It's time for a GT2 update. They're still going. Klotman and Nielsen Kowski for Vanderbilt Sim Racing. They are still there. Back to GT1.
They're still out there driving.
Yeah, they are. There's not a lot we can say. We do apologise. There's not a lot we can say when there's only 2 drivers in the field. But you know what? This is the good thing about Vanderbilt as well. They really have evolved as a team over multiple disciplines over the last year and a half or so. And this is why we can joke about them now being, you know, just dominating in GT2 with 2 drivers. Because, of course, they had the heartbreak in VLN, which is well documented on this thing called the Sim Racing Observer, Connery.
Yes, of course, but that is more of a Jake Sperry thing than the Connery Magic thing, even though I do help out with hosting the website and making sure Jake doesn't break anything with it. But there we go. It's true. It's the honest truth.
Stefan Overgaard versus Carlos Villar. They're still going on for P number 6 on track. It's just around them as well. It's actually now a 3-horse race between Philip Barr, Fabrice Cornelius and Paul Ilbring, P4, P5, P6. And this is going to be an interesting one heading on towards pit road. What happens if all 3 come down at the same time, Conor? Will one team maybe try to just underfill by maybe a click and see if they can make it?
Could potentially be the strategy play that starts to come out here. It would be very, very risky indeed. There's not a lot of time to be able to make up, to do a lot of fuel saving here with what is going to be even less than 20 minutes to go when we are through with the pit stops for these prototypes. As the pit window is well and truly open, but no one in your prototype field has come down on towards the lane just yet. Everyone on their 20 lap stints right now, coming up to 21. it could be this time or next time by, we'll start to see some action on the pit road prototypes.
Yeah, and there is Philip Barr. We're right on board from the rear of him. As for Reece Cornelius is about 8/10 of a second back, and actually it does seem to me that Burr is better when you're in that middle section of the racetrack compared to those around him. Stefan Overgaard right behind the driver of Carlos Villia right now, and in fact, so that was I take that back. That was Calvin Fraudulent who was alongside, and looks as though that Calvin is going to be able to get back past on the run in towards Sunset Bend. Indeed, he does. Number 24 machine. Let's get ourselves a quick replay of that one, because this was too wide racing through Le Mans down towards start. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, so that was actually the number 14 machine of Stefan Overgaard going off on the run down to Le Mans, and that's why he lost 2 places there, Connery.
Yeah, a little bit too greedy on corner entry, has to push wide, collect those 1Xs as well, as actually we do have prototypes on the lane. Marcus Hamilton, Paul Ulbrich, Neil Andrews, Frederick Evers, all down towards the lane, all part of this group that we saw. Yeah, here's a replay then from Calvin Fraudulent, just seeing him working himself past the number 14 machine of Stefan Overgaard. But yeah, we've got drivers on pit road. Here we are, Marcus Hamilton. Let's have a look then as drivers will come off pit road in a couple of moments' time. Hamilton, as we say, is on the lane. Andrews, Ilbring, Evers, all at the same time, like we worried about. Hamilton will get out first. Then it'll be the case of Paul Ilbring, then Andrews, and then Evers, by the looks of it. So it's very close, actually. Look at that, side by side. There's a prototype ahead, but Andrews is going to lose out there in that battle. He's down 2. Yeah, he will. So side by side off of pit road, it's very exciting to see, but not so exciting for the drivers when the pit road exit is so narrow going through those green cones. But they managed to negotiate relatively okay, as we're still waiting for Carla, Wolf, Bauer, and Cornelis to head their way on towards lane C with Pascal Stix as well. So this one isn't over yet. We'll see where Philip Bauer and Cornelis slot in this particular battle.
Vendeval Sim Racing's number 5 machine has made a pit stop in GT2. 17 seconds there from Nielsen Kowski, 40.9 overall, and Colin Klotman has not yet pitted. Klotman right now working himself through the north end of the racetrack by the looks of it, as we turn our attention back to Carter, and he is on pit road, as is Patrick Wolf. Now Carter has a 2.1 second advantage here, Connery, but with Wolf coming in at the same time, that's Carter thinking, uh-oh, don't want to mess up.
Yeah, don't want to mess up. You have to get your car stopped in your pit stall absolutely perfectly. No running a little bit wide here or a little bit forward. And he does get it stopped. No having to reverse back into the box for either of these drivers. There's Cornelis and Philip Bauer coming down on towards the lane as well. And they get stopped. Well, Cornelis was very, very tentative. Off and away goes Carlo, though. He will retain the race lead. Off the way goes Wolf as well, as there was about almost a second difference between those pit stop times there between those two drivers. Off goes Philip Bauer ahead of Fabrice Cornelis. And where will they come out in relation to the cars behind Marcus Hamilton? Just coming down the pit straight here. Side by side it will be down in towards turn number 1. Careful with the rejoining off of pit lane here. And Hamilton has got both of them.
He has. So Marcus Hamilton then up into 3rd place. Good run by him then in that number 6 machine. And all of a sudden, Marcus Hamilton's becoming more of a factor in this event. Fabrice Cornelis, by the way, remains in P number 5, so did not do anything for the sequence of pit stops, but still there behind the driver of Philip Barr.
Yeah, he really needs to do something daring coming down onto that stop, but I think it was a standard stop for Fabrice Cornelis, at least on my time screen, 13.8, Philip Bauer 13.9. Marcus Hamilton actually the longest of the group of 3 cars, 15.2, but he still managed to come out ahead.
Yeah, indeed. So this is about going on for 4th place in your class. Run through them, the standings overall in just a couple of moments' time. It's already calmed down in your top 5 in GT1, Connery. Mika Numeri now, as I say, behind Just de Vries. I say that. Paul Ancliffe is on pit road, coming out of pit road, and he will be very close actually amongst a number of other drivers, I think. No, he's come out behind Numeri, and he's come out pretty much in clean air, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It was going to be potentially close between himself, De Vries, and Numeri, but Numeri did manage to get the gap over Paul Ancliffe, so that is the kind of visual gap that we're working with here, or at least Paul Ancliffe is going to be working with to try and get himself back up to inside that top 4 in your GT1 field, but still it's a 3-car scrap. 2 Bivano, 1 Vendaval for your prototype P number 3 here. Absolutely nose to tail as they head down the pit straight in towards turn number 1. And what Fabrice Cornelis do here? He has a wall in front of his rival. It has a wall of Bivano ahead of him, and how does he get over it?
Well, yeah, indeed, as behind actually, there's a battle going on, and it looks like the Villa's going to lose position there to Stefan Overgaard. Not much going on between these two, but it is pretty close overall actually as we have a look through. 3 drivers separated now by half a second. It was half a tenth of a second. We'll probably be a bit more excited than what we are now, but here is a driver, Calvin Fraudont. He is 6th place in class. Stefan Overgaard is in 7th, and then Carlos Villa rounds out your top 8 in classifications. And well, we need to give you an update here that Koen Klotman has made a pit stop in GT2. He's come out in 41.8 seconds, Connery.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic work from the pit crew there, shall we say, to get that GT2 car service with no one really to be battling with. It's maybe a little bit of pit stop practice for that pit stop crew, as Senkowski dealing with a little bit of traffic coming through on him. That is pretty much the only thing to note on GT2. Right,
let's have a look then through your standings as we've got ourselves just over 15 minutes remaining. And Kana has eked that lead out, and that's because of the pit stop there, Connery, to what, 3.2 seconds. You said he gained a second, and that's pretty much what that 1 second was.
Yeah, exactly. Gap up to 3.3 where it was around about 2. So Patrick Wolff needing to do a little bit more work in this final stint. But the thing is, by my calculations, as he heads his way across the line, there's going to be about 10 laps remaining with 16 minutes left on the clock. So not a lot of time at all for Patrick Wolff to work with. He really needs to go now.
Marcus Hamilton 3rd place in class. Philip Barr in 4th. Fabrice Cornelius in 5th. Ilbrink, Evers and Andrews running out your top 8. It really has kind of died down though in the prototype field ever since pit stops. You have got Hamilton, Byrne, Cornelius, but that one's seeming a bit static despite the gap being close.
Yeah, exactly. It has just gone into a little bit of a lull in terms of that one. Eustace Vries and Nurmi are still close in your GT1 field. In terms of everywhere else, Evers and Andrews, they are relatively close, but I think I could expect that Frederick Evers will be starting to pull the gap at this stage. That is my honest opinion, but the main battle that you're looking at is 3, 4 and 5 for prototypes.
Yeah, and to look then back in your GT1 field, Paul Ilbrink, we can see there that he's got a lead of 23 seconds over everyone else. Josta Vries versus Nico Nimri, that is still your closest battle at 4 tenths of a second, but it seems to be, again, neither driver can actually pull away from the other.
Yeah, it's just stagnant, and it's sometimes the way these races fall sometimes with how equal the drivers are, with how equal the setups are these cars, as they're pushed a little bit wide through Sunset Bend, but of course, as we mention every single time we mention it, it's a corner that you can take multiple lines through, and he will be relatively okay, even if he does push wide on entry.
Yeah, he's a little bit closer past the start finish line, but you know, a quarter of a second, not a lot to write home about as you come down through turn number 1. Both drivers going below the yellow line there, right close towards the wall, but Nico Nimri loses about 1/10.5 there through the first corner alone. Maybe Connery, we set that car up more to work in a straight line, even more so than they normally would compared to the corners.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case here. It's one of those tracks that you can make both the sort of higher downforce side of things work and the lower downforce. Typically, drivers look towards the lower downforce here with the very long back straight. You've got the pit straight. You've also got the run down from 13 down towards 15 and the long quarter as well. So it's a little bit of a battle of philosophies here, and I think Eustace Vries is currently starting to win, at least on this lap. It did close 0.2 of a second last time by. I think De Vries has started to reply.
Yeah, he is. And then, of course, to have a look at your results so far in your GT2 field. There you are. 7 seconds exactly it was last time. As Racebot Cat wants to give her own comments. Hi, Racebot Cat. Back to you, Connery.
Hello, Racebot Cat as well. There we go. That's all I have to say about that one. Is this battle does decide to head its way through towards Le Mans for the 24th time. But the thing is, this prototype battle. Still very close, but the thing is, there's nothing really that Cornelius could really do about this. He actually lost around about 3/4 tenths of a second on that last lap, so something must have happened, like pushing wide there or having just to slow down a little bit with the lap traffic. But the thing is, he can't be affording to losing that much time. It looks like he has gained it back over this past lap though, and he is definitely within striking distance of Philip Bauer now as they head down towards Sunset Bend. Too far back to make a move down towards the inside here, but set yourself up for a run through here. He does push a little bit wide, but the thing is, he can cut back and try and get the pace off of the corner here and make the move down in towards turn number 1. But a very good run for Bauer is going to mean that that move is a little bit more impossible.
And the thing is, that gap, you know, the way the draft seems to be working today doesn't really favour people, but this is the chance. Corvette there getting in the way a little bit through turn number 1 for Philip Burr. That allowed Cornelius to really close right up, but it's only really 2 cars deep, so 2 cars wide at that stage of the racetrack, and Cornelius blows it all there on the run through Big Ben because now he can't get close enough and towards the hairpin.
Yeah, and he has to deal with the traffic on the entry to the corner in the braking zone as well, so he's going to try down the inside anyway and spook that Corvette car into locking its brakes and falling back behind. But now this has also brought Paul Ilbrink back into things here if they continue to fight much longer. A 147.4 by Ilbrink that last time by. That was on pace with the prototypes ahead of him, but this lap is going to be absolutely horrible for both Bauer and Cornelis. So Paul Ilbrink may be a huge factor now.
Yeah, let's go on board with Ilbrink for a few corners. Out overall though, you've got to say though, is Ilbrink. When Cornelius and Burr hooked up there going through the Almond straightaway, Ilbrink was falling back. A little bit of traffic on the exit at Sunset Bend, that's a harsh driver. But Cornelius, he had that good speed earlier on, but ever since that kind of half spin, he's kind of not really shown much pace really.
No, not at all. I don't think it's any damage issue because the thing is, he didn't really have contact with any other car, any other barrier, so it must be some sort of tire issues there because these prototypes would have taken tires in the pit stops because of the very little amount of fuel that they're going to be taking in the pit stops. So these are the tires that these cars did start on. And, well, if he's put them through a relatively abusive heat cycle with that spin, then that could be the issue that we're dealing with here. So perhaps some increased tire wear for Canales.
Behind in prototype, we've still got the driver of Neil Andrews versus Frederick Evers. This is for P number 7 overall. But I'm just going to say here that Andrews has been trying to put the pressure on, but the lap times show that it's hit and miss between the two of them as well. As you can see there on your screen, Andrews versus Evers currently scored at 0.3 of a second. In GT1, there are no more real battles going on there, Connery.
No more real battles apart from potentially via an overguard here is via 0.2 of a second last time by. That is actually the closest battle that you have there out on circuit. And there's also Foydrin that might drop back into this one as well. So it's not all over in terms of battles for your GT1 field, but all of the action is in prototypes.
Less than 10 minutes to go. In fact, we've got 9 minutes to go. What's happened?
Oh, Bauer got severely held up coming towards Sunset Bend, and this could be the opportunity that Cornelius needs. He's so close, ending their way across the line here, and it's going to be aggressive, defensive inside line for Bauer. Cornelius has to go the long way around the outside. He can do that here. There's a country mile of space out there on the exit, and Cornelius gets to position. Textbook
move there by Fabrice Cornelius. Replay of that one coming up, and you're almost going to start there back on the exit of turn number 16. But here's a fantastic look then. We're going to go on board with Frederick Burr, and here we are. And he's actually lost another plate away from our screens as well. Cuts back to the outside, down into Sunset Bend, and that really stacked up the entire 3 drivers there in prototype. We have got to say, we're going to keep it on this replay. Ilbrink is past as well now.
Yeah, exactly. So losing 2 positions in such a short space of time is very, very hard to take. As yeah, you're completely right. Ilbrink did manage to make up the position, and I think that was down coming through Big Bend, I believe, that he managed to gain that one. So that is the state of things right now. Both the Veneral and Radicals and Line Car did manage to get past the Thrustmaster Ivano machine. The thing is, they have to start to chase down Helmsley now, and there's a big R from our very lovely Wilbert.
Yeah, and what it was, and RaceBot's Cat here is trying to explain it at the same time. What happened to Philip Barr is he got very wide on the exit of turn number 5. Now, there's a technical reason why he might have done that, Connor. He's been basically running in clean air for most of this race. As soon as he gets behind a car, of course, you know, in terms of dirty air, downforce your car has equal change, and then Philip Barr, as a consequence, I think that he just put a little bit too much wood into that, and because of that, Ilbrink's gone. Barr's like, you know what, I'm not taking any more chances, I'm going to drop back 2 seconds down behind Paul Ilbrink.
Yeah, he's just going to try to start to park the bus now, I think, is Philip Bauer. The next competitor down the field is actually going to be his teammate of Frederick Evers, a good couple of seconds behind. So with 5 laps to go, I don't think that Evers is going to make up that much of a gap. So I think Philip Bauer is relatively safe where he is. Of course, he could start to try and catch up to the back of Paul Ulbrich, but the thing is that gap is a little bit too big, I think, as he gets held up coming through the first sector here by a GT1 car. It's Paul Seal there. He has to go around the outside at Big Bend, but that is kind of, you know, it was a spurt of action, and now it's kind of fizzled out the battles in prototypes. It's actually Cortez runs a little bit wide coming through turn number 7. That car is not happy at all.
It's not, but it's now in 4th place. So he's up a little bit. Let's go back, though, to your GT2 battle. For those of you joining us, well, there's 2 GT2 cars left in the field here today. Timo Deutker decided that he's going to call it quits after 9 laps of racing. In fact, probably less than that, actually. He stands for 19 laps of racing. And Gilbert in the number 28 car did not start this race. Vendeveld Racing 1-2 there for the number 9 and number 5 machines, and I think they're going to probably stage this finish, if I'm not lying to you there, Connor.
Yeah, I definitely think so too, so we'll see exactly what will happen there, but the closest battle in the entire track right now is currently Foydren versus Stefan Overgaard. Overgaard caught about a 1/10 of a second the last time by, so we have that to potentially look forward to at the end of this event. We've also still got Evers and Andrews that are relatively close as well, so we might need this stage finish for GT2.
Yeah, and the thing about Overgaard, of course, as well, he is in a Corvette compared to Calvin Freudent in an Aston Martin. This is where the Corvette should gain a bit of time, but it's not really, he's getting a 10th and a half a second. And we'll have a look at the lap times past the line, but this, you are right, here's the closest battle on track. And Overgaard, can he gain anything as they work through the final corner, Sunset Bend, with just under 5 to go? About another 10th of a second.
Yeah, a 156.2 for Overgaard, a 156.3 for Foydra as they head their way through turn number 1. And this is so tricky, especially on the first lap with many cars in the bigger endurance series. It's like a funnel. It starts being very wide in the middle and on the entry to the corner, but it just funnels everyone into a basically 2 to 3 lane sort of situation coming through the first sector. And we always see incidents coming down through there. I wonder if we will see the same when it comes to the Sebring 12 hours in not too distant future.
Yeah, and of course that'll be here along with all the other main iRacing special events this coming year on iRacing. We've got to say as well, actually, 3 new World Championship Series and now in the iRacing lineup. We've got ourselves 1 in the Global Rallycross and 2 in terms of the World of Outlaw Series. Now, we're under the impression at this stage, Conor, these might be a little bit smaller in terms of the number of races they're going to have, especially in this first year. But it's great to have dirt, road and dirt oval all being recognised for World Championship Series.
Yeah, and I definitely think they should be as well. We need to get as many disciplines of racing having their own top-tier series, at least in terms of iRacing sanctioned series on the service. And I know the Dirt Oval guys have been asking for it for a very long time.
Before
but I think iRacing feel Before it even came out as well, yeah. But I think iRacing wanted to get a lot of more dirt tracks that they had on release, and now that they have that, especially with the Chili Bowl coming as well, I wonder if they'll put sprint cars and late models on that instead of just the dirt midgets. But yeah, I think iRacing feel comfortable now they can run a fully fleshed Pro Series for both your late models and sprint cars.
We have got a battle going on in GT1. Paul Sale versus Jos de Vries then. Through turn number 3, 4, and 5. And I just want to have a look at the lap times here, because this one's appeared on our radar pretty quickly, but Jos de Vries all of a sudden has caught up Paul Sale. Maybe, and I'm having a look at the pit stop times here, 17.1 seconds for Dave Geeling, 17.1 seconds for Jos de Vries, 15.2 for Paul Sale. Maybe that number 12, Kobuka and iMachine, is running a little bit on the light side and is worried about running out of fuel.
Yeah, that could be the case there. Is it was the shortest, one of the shortest stops in the entire GT1 field for Paul Sale. The only one that comes even close is going to be Paul Ankleff, which is actually another Aston Martin as well. So that could be the situation that's going on here. But the thing is a prototype trying to go through. That's Pascal Sticks. Actually has to back completely out of the move, going down towards turn number 13 tower here, and he's going to make that move on the exit here, and he's going to split up the battle. So you know, just as the battle starts to emerge, it starts to be taken away again. But
if the situation is as we expect, when Paul Sale might be running a little bit light on fuel, this will come down to what I'm going to show you right now. Tommaso Carla is working himself down at... We need to go on board and to really see what part of the racetrack this is. So this is on the run down into Big Ben. So we will see one more lap after this one for Tommaso Carla. So maybe Paul Sale here is in a situation, he feels as though he'll make it to all the zeros, but might not make it through that final lap.
Yeah, so he has to be so careful here. Careful not to run wide out of Sunset Bend either, as he almost clips the grass coming out of there. But let's see the lap times. 155.737 last time by for Seal, 155.9 for Jos de Vries. So it's actually faster than Jos de Vries there. So
but we know why.
Yes, of course. So it's de Vries, he's going to have to really work at it now. He might be gifted the position if Paul Sale can't manage his fuel to the end as he gets a slide coming out of turn number 5, coming through turn number 6 now. But Vries, he's going to have to find the gap here somewhere, just in case that Sale can make it to the end.
Yeah, and I think that tank slapper as well by Sale, he's going to lose this one, I think, almost on the run down in towards Cunningham Corner. I mean, it's a better run there from Seal on the exit of the corner, but it looks like he's over brake. He's either got tyre issues or fuel issues. But here comes the number 27 machine, holds the inside line, late braking there by Seal. He's really trying everything to defend that position, but I do think that it's going to be a very, very poor case here of maybe Seal running out of fuel. And now he's in that situation where he can't try and save fuel. So, sorry, as the time expires, the white flag is out here at Sebring, and we've got a bit of drama for silver medal position, maybe a bit more if Seal does run out of fuel overall.
Yeah, we'll just have to see as yeah, we are on the final lap here for the prototype, so we're going to go to about what is going to be 53 laps on the stint for your GT1 cars, and some of them might not have even planned for that amount of laps. Usually they might plan for a little bit less because they're not used to seeing these big names running in the series with the pace they've been running, but so close coming through Sunset Bend, right up under the bumper, under the diffuser is Jos de Vries, but the thing is he's not going to get the run off.
Yeah, Tommaso Carla, however, has not got long to go. We can just see there, flicking it to the left into Collier Corner. Turn number 11 on track. We're keeping an eye out, by the way, what is going on at the same time in terms of P number 2, P number 3 in your GT field. We'll put the top 3 in each of your classes up on the left-hand side of your screen. Tommaso Carla has got a 1.5 second advantage over Patrick Wolf and is heading now down towards Ullman Shoreway, picking up that pace towards Sunset Bend in a moment's time. De Vries, we're just going to keep it with him into this corner. Nothing yet. So we'll go back now to Tommaso Carla in towards Sunset Bend for the final time in that prototype machine. Tommaso Carla will be your winner overall here. ProtoGT round number 8 at Sebring. Tommaso Carla will score the victory, and a well-deserved one by him. Patrick Wolf will come home second in class, and then third place will be Marcus Hamilton in just a few moments' time. As what's happened?
Cornelius has lost the position in the final corner to Paul Ilbrink. Ilbrink will actually be P number 4.
And Cornelius then down into P number 5 as a consequence. Jos de Vries now only has one more chance. Maybe Paul Sill's been able to hold on here. Jos de Vries isn't very aggressive on the noisy pedal either. Let's have a listen in. This is battle going on for your silver medal position in GT1. Looks like Paul Sill might well be able to hold on as he'll come through the final corner for the final time. This is when all will become true. And yeah, indeed, Paul Sill's going to hold on. He will claim second place, but not without a bit of a hurry up towards the start-finish line. It was Dave Geeling, of course, who won in terms of your GT1 battle. So Dave Geeling then claiming the winner's position in GT1. And time for a surprise. Cohen Klotman wins in terms of GT2, Connery.
Yeah, I've just noticed Frederick Evers just creeping his way across the line. This driver was running a little bit further up than where he finished. P number 10 runs out of fuel. So these cars were marginal to the end.
Yeah, we talked about how one or two of them might well have been. Here's a replay with Frederick Evers. He was out of fuel before he even came into Sunset Bend. He's not the winner. Might be the winner in terms of fuel conservation. But Frederick Evers, then, he was coasting for a long, long way. And actually, I want to see where that really started. Well, that was all the way back, actually. Let's go on board Evers. So he had fuel into Bishop. He ran out at 15. Yeah, he ran out at 15.
Oh, that was so scary from behind as well, because Neil Andrews wasn't expecting him to be so slow coming up in towards the entry. Had to take avoiding action down towards the inside there.
Let's get a replay as well with Fabrice Cornelis. So this is on the run through Sunset Bend. Final lap of the motor race. And what probably best thing to look at is our overhead camera here. Fabrice comes into the corner. Oh, that was just a late move on the number 4 machine of Ilbrink. But then Cornelius, I think Cornelius ran out of fuel as well. Final corner. Replay.
He ran out of fuel. He got a slide coming through the exit. But I think he's okay on the fuel, though.
Let's listen in.
Oh, just across the line.
Yeah, so that slide happened. He expected the power to come on. The power wasn't there. And that car slowed as he thought he had basically more horsepower than he would. That's one of those weird things, that these cars operate better with more power compared to when they're running at a slower speed. The way downforce works. Downforce 101, Connery.
Yeah, downforce. How does it work, Will? How does it work?
Downforce. Downforce. No, but essentially what happened there, of course, is that exiting that final corner, if you expect to come out that corner 130 miles an hour, you turn your steering wheel in such a way because you think you've got a certain amount of grip. But actually, the grip here is a number of different things. Mechanical grip and aerodynamic grip. If you've not got the wind going above the car, basically from the front wing all the way up the bodywork to the rear wing, then actually you're going to end up with less downforce, not more, and that's why a car is more likely to spin as it's running out of fuel. Tommaso Carla takes victory overall here then, in terms of your race here tonight. Patrick Wolf in second place, Marcus Hamilton third, Paul Ilbrink fourth, Fabrice Cornelis rounding out your top 5. Philip Barr in 6th place, Neil Andrews, Pascal Stix, Casper DeCourt and Frederick Evers rounds out your top 10. 2 drivers out on pace 2, Javier Torres and Gabriel Perez. Over to GT1, Dave Geeling. We didn't actually show him crossing the start-finish line, but he won by 35 seconds there, Connery. Incredible finish by him, claiming victory over Paul Sell. Third place, Jos de Vries. 4th place, Paul Ancliffe. Callum Freudont in 5th. Remainder of your GT1 results coming up on your screen for you now. See the biggest retirement, Fraser Williamson, earlier on in the event. And then finally, here's a look at your results in GT2. Cohen Klotman wins by 8.7. So no stage finish in the end then. Neil Sinkowski in second, Timo Doika in third, DNS for Gilbert in the number 28 machine. Well, we're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. When we come back, we'll talk about the weekend. This is RaceSpot TV on iRacing Live. We'll be right back.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. Well, tell you one thing, Connor, we've not got as busy a weekend as what we've been having for the last 2 months or so. Pro Series of Road Racing is done and dusted in the books, and now we wait for the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, but we do have 3 more great races tonight. Red Bull Global Rallycross at Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis, the World of Outlaws late models at Williams Grove, and the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series at Knoxville.
Yeah, exactly. With the Red Bull Global Rallycross, we say every week, can anyone beat Mitchell de Jong? Let's tune in this week to see if anyone can, but it's not looking very, very likely at all. You've got the World of Outlaws late models, which I actually have seen a little bit of, and those guys are just absolutely crazy. It's crazy racing, and actually not that many cautions as well. It's absolutely fantastic. We've also got the sprint cars there, which are their own thing, and absolutely insane speeds on very, very low grip surface. I'm not sure how they do it.
Yeah, then tomorrow night we've got the Majors Series, Classic 2.4. That'll be 5 PM GMT here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. The Sim Racing Grand Prix, Nordic style with Norwegian commentary. That'll be round number 3 at Suzuka, 5:30 PM GMT on Sunday. And then it's your pre-show to the Super Bowl. The Skip Barber 2K World Cup, round number 3 at Zandvoort, Connery.
Yeah, Zandvoort is absolutely fantastic track, and it's a sort of track that I want to see on more series calendars. It's that good. It's that good to drive with the elevation changes. You've got the various different types of corners as well. It's just a brilliant circuit to race at, and I'm excited to see what the Skippies can do around that.
Exactly 24 hours later, you've got yourself Monday Night Skippies, rounding out your week's worth of action. Join Rachel Whitefoot, that guy Connery Maddock, and occasionally Linus Bronstrom for Monday Night Skippies in support of the Calm Zone here on RaceSpot TV. That is all we have time for here tonight. We will, of course, want to say thank you to the people that you will see on your screen now. And Connery, guess what?
What, Will?
No one blew it tonight.
No one blew it, apart from me being ill.
And me being ill.
Everyone's ill.
And RaceSpot Cat being in heat.
Yeah, but the thing is, these are issues that we can deal with.
Yeah.
We're very... we're good at our jobs, apparently.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Friday Night Prime Time is off the air. Good night.